Speaker of the National Assembly.
Honorable Malema, what is the point of order?
You asked Mr. Ramaphosa to sit down first. I'm standing. No, when a point of order is called, Speaker, the Speaker must sit down. We can't have two speakers standing at the same time. And we can't both stand, the Speaker.
Honorable Malema, I asked you, you said you have a point of order.
Yes.
And I said, what is the point of order? And I allowed you to go ahead.
But please, Speaker, in terms of procedure, the President must sit down.
Why should Africans need someone such as Julius Malema? Let us talk. But before we get to engage ourselves in this serious conversation, you need to watch this video, because this video, it is one of the reasons why should African need someone as Julius Malema. Something serious did happen yesterday in the East London Magistrate Court, where the president of EFF, Julius Malema, had to attend his court trial. Let us watch this video. I'll see you after then.
We've been here for 5 years. She never early in this court. And no one has ever written an article about that. She's not above the law. She's not the law. She has a duty to respect us. We've been too quiet for 5 years. We've been subjected to this nonsense of disrespect. Can't be disrespected like that.
We must not talk because we are going to jail. That is the question that Julius Malema had to challenge the magistrate court yesterday in his court appearance. The president of EFF, Julius Malema, had to raise this point because this is kind of the things that has been going for some times now, and we're talking about 5 years that this case has been pending inside the court. Julius Malema did indeed try to complain through his legal representative advocate, but unfortunately that did not work because apparently the magistrate or the judge, they had the last word to say, until when the man have to stand on his own and try to speak his mind without fear of anyone. Julius Malema had to remind this judge that she's not above the law and she don't have the right to disrespect them because they are under his lordship. He even went forward to remind her that they know their right and they can't let anyone to disrespect them because they are the one who are treating this case. Just imagine having that kind of courage. Because if Julius Malema did not have this kind of courage, I don't think the media was going to talk about what took place inside that court yesterday. Because of his courage, trying to put things in order, it had bring this woman to her sense to realize that she had done something wrong and she needed to fix it. She needed to fix it by coming and apologize.
Accused 1 and 2. The matter then postponed for further evidence until tomorrow, the 14th of September. Bail extended in respect of accused 1 and 2. You are warned for 8:30. Seemingly we have lights at 9 o'clock, and I'll be sure to be on time. Remember, please, I don't know when you have set up and when the media has set up everything. I'm told they are busy setting up once the court is open. So when you are actually ready, I don't know. My office is a 5-minute walk from here. I don't know when you are ready. If you can please all endeavor to tell me you are ready, then I'll be here immediately. Please. Thank you.
Now let us try to discuss a little bit about this and give you our analysis about it. First of all, I don't believe that she did it out of her own conscience. Instead, I would say she did it because she's afraid of losing a job. Seeing someone such as Julius Malema coming forward inside your court and making such kind of allegations under your name, this can put your job at risk because it will open the eyes of everyone to realize what is happening inside your court. And the only way she will come and try to clear her names is by trying to humble herself and having this kind of message. Again here, what to take from this is that Julius Malema manifested his courage to speak nothing but the truth, and that is what helped him at least to fix things in order. And we saw that today, that this woman, she arrived inside the court in time because of what did happen yesterday in a court. Was this the first time that Julius Malema manifested this kind of courage toward this kind of people with their behaviors? Nope. Do you still remember this video? This video was taken about 11 to 12 years ago as we're talking right now. And here, Julius Malema was trying to respond back to this BBC journalist who was trying to disrespect him under his media briefing. And Julius Malema had to say this.
You see, let me tell you, before you are Chacharach, let me tell you, this is a building of a revolutionary party. And you know nothing about the revolution. So here you behave or else you jump. Here you don't laugh. Chief, can you get security to remove this thing? If you're not going to behave, you're going to call security to take you out. This is not a newsroom. This is a revolutionary house. And you don't come here with that tendency. Don't come here with that white tendency. Not yet. You can do it somewhere else. Not yet. If you've got a tendency of undermining blacks even where you work, you are in the wrong place. Yeah, you are in the wrong place.
That's rubbish.
And you can go out.
That's absolutely rubbish.
Yeah, you can go out. Rubbish is what you have covered in that trouser. That is rubbish. That which you have covered in this trouser is rubbish. Okay? You are a small boy. You can't do anything.
I didn't come here to be
Come out. Go out. Bastard. Go out. You bloody agent.
Julius Malema said rubbish, it is what you are covering under what? Guys, let me tell you something I have noticed about Julius Malema. He can be polite to those who want to be polite with him, and he can be crazy against those ones who want to be crazy against him. So this Mulungu had received the same treatment that he was planning to give Julius Malema. In order for you to deal with this kind of people, you need to have that courage. Because Julius Malema could have been scared and be afraid of not responding back to this Mulungu, knowing that if he have to do that, these people, they'll go in their media, they'll finish him, they'll try to criticize his campaign, and they'll try to make sure that they make him disappear with his career in politics. He could have been afraid to not respond back or talk to these people. But he had that courage because he have to be that fearless person so that these people can be at least put on their lines and not mess up with him. Besides this scene, that was not all. Another fine example that can be a good reason why Africans need to have courage, such as the one of Julius Malema. It is when he visited France embassy in South Africa. On that day, they had a very peaceful march in front of the France embassy here in South Africa. And all Julius Malema was asking, it was for the France embassy to come out and recognize these memorandums and sign on it. But unfortunately, these France people refused to come out and try to sabotage Julius Malema with his people, thinking that it will work for them as they always do in other African countries, especially in those French-speaking countries. But unfortunately, they met the wrong man. On that day, I remember, Julius Malema said to them this.
We're waiting for these people to come out. Because we're not going to read this memorandum without these imperialists and murderers come outside. And if they don't come outside, we're not going to live here until they come outside. So they must stop wasting our time. We're not here to play games here. If they think we're part of the nonsense they've been doing in West Africa, it stops here. We're not West Africa. And we're not going to allow that nonsense. We come here peacefully. And we want the France embassy to act peacefully and not provoke us. So they must come outside and receive the memorandum. Otherwise, we are not going to start. Otherwise, we are not going to live here. And by not living here, they will not live here. We are going to divide ourselves. Others will go and occupy the main road there. And others will occupy the gate of France embassy. So stop wasting time. Call that comrade who was singing here. Come and sing here until these fools have come out. Otherwise, we are not going anywhere. And you might force us to reinforce now. Because we might have to call more people to come here. We are not all here. The French white supremacists are not going to dictate to us on how we must protest here in South Africa. No one is going to fight you. No one is going to beat you. You have killed a lot of people in Africa. Why are you scared today to come out and face Africans?
I remember very well on that day how France embassy with their people resisted against the EFF members. Trust me, they did not want to come out. The police went and pleaded them, telling them that we are here to protect you and no one is going to touch you, no one is going to hurt you. Just go there, try to sign this memorandum, let these people leave because you are blocking the roads. They refused to go out. They said that France embassy, it is our country. So therefore we're not going to allow anyone to come here and tell us what to do. On other side, EFF of their leader Julius Malema, they were like, okay, fine. We're going to show you that this is Africa. You can claim to say that France embassy, it is your country. It is part of your country, but it is under our soil. And us as Africans, we are going to show you that we're not going to go anywhere. And if you don't want to come here now, we'll make sure that we call more people who have to come and make sure that not even one of you will go back to their houses. Guess what happened? Finally, the France ambassador, he ended up coming to sign this memorandum. After signing the whole thing, he was given a chance for him to speak out. Have listened to what was his message.
Thank you very much and good day to everyone. I want to say that we respect the EFF as a political movement. Also, I think you are very good organizers. You came to see us today, so it was normal to come out and to receive your memorandum. We cannot sign the memorandum because it's your memorandum, but we will convey the memorandum to Paris. And also, I want to say an important message, that we have our disagreement, okay? And today, France is a partner with Africa, and we are friends of the African nations. Thank you very much.
That it is how you all respect. Yep, that is how you will get respect from everyone who's trying to minimize you. At first, he did not want to show his face, but he was forced to come out and end up speaking to this low tone toward people of Africa. Do you know why? The courage manifested by Julius Malema with those Africans who were there that day. It was a very strong message that they had to send to Paris through their embassy in South Africa. That kind of courage is what each and every Africans need right now. Another fine example of Julius Malema that I want to share with you through this video. It was when Julius Malema was being interviewed at BBC. It was when Julius Malema was interviewed by a BBC journalist who was so hard on Julius Malema through his questions, hoping that he was going to defeat him through his questions, the questions that he did not even memorize properly. But Julius Malema came back on him and tell him exactly what he needed to hear, him with the West.
You, of course, have been convicted of hate speech in the past. There was, of course, the whole trial about your use of the Kill the Boer song, which you were responsible and your supporters were responsible for airing many times, and which in the end the courts convicted you of hate speech for using. You actually face new allegations of using hate speech toward white people in the last few months. Do you think that you are responsible for some of the rising tensions in your country today?
If I was responsible for rising tensions in my country today, what you see is picnic. It could have been worse than that if I was commanding it. I've engaged in democratic ways of trying to resolve problems in South Africa. And therefore, those who are scared of our ideas try and create an impression of very violent people. We are not. We are not responsible for any single violent activity that has happened in South Africa. You can't link us to anything.
Did you listen to that? Did you get Julius Malema's point on that? Did you actually understand what he was trying to say there? Because, guys, we all know that the West media, they've been making this big campaign against Julius Malema. And all the Pan-Africans who've been talking in behalf of Africa continent, who've been asking the West to be out of African affairs and try to leave Africa to develop by itself in the way that's supposed to be all these years. So what they have done about Julius Malema, they make sure that they have to create a propaganda. They had to make sure that they create a certain propaganda against Julius Malema so that everyone, they should continue seeing Julius Malema as someone who hates white people, as someone who bring that hate speech to white people. And through this time, this interview took place just after when Jacob Zuma was sent to jail and the looting took place in South Africa. So these people, what they did, they changed the story. Since they were looking for someone to put the blame on, they end up qualifying the EFF of Julius Malema, saying that Julius Malema is the man who was behind all this looting because he is the one who had motivated all these people from KwaZulu-Natal to go in the street and loot everything in the shop. That was something that Julius Malema could not keep quiet about because it was all about his reputation and his name being put online. So he had to come and defend himself and try to remind him that what you see, what you are complaining about, it is nothing to what could have happened if it was me who was commanding all this looting. Again here, you will understand that Julius Malema shows the confidence that he has in himself and people that believe in him. He knows for sure that if he was the one who had to call for this violence, things could have been more worse than that. Because the man believes that he is an influencer, and as an influencer, he can call people and people will always obey to him. Proof to that, he did call for the national shutdown, which a lot did criticize and say that it will never gonna happen, people are not gonna respond back to that. But later on, we saw even through the government revenue of that day get lost, all because all the activities were shut down. Guys, do you still remember when AfriForum took Julius Malema to court all because of the farmer song and the land matters? Well, here's another good example that Julius Malema had demonstrated, and this time it is about not being fear. On this part of video, Julius Malema speaks nothing but the truth without fear of anyone. Inside the magistrate court, Julius Malema have to touch these taboo questions which a lot of Africans could not back then in days talk about. And this time he was responding back to the so-called the legal representative of AfriForum, who was taking this matter into more personal. And Julius Malema had to remind him that he should be more professional instead of him trying to expose his emotions.
You know, I've litigated with AfriForum and Roots before, and they've never brought someone so weak as you. I think they've done the worst disservice to themselves.
That was another drama that took place inside the court back then when Julius Malema could not back up for what he had said before.
It is white people who must be ashamed of what they've done to us. You cannot turn tables now and want to blame me for the crimes committed by white people. It is a white regime that killed children in 1976. It is the white regime that killed children in the 80s and in the early 90s. It is white people who engaged in the wars of dispossession and forcefully took our land and our cows. Why can't you take responsibility? Why can't you for once just say sorry for the crimes we have committed against you.
Malema did defend himself and dispute that singing the song Tibulibumu, it has nothing with what they are trying to make look like. He went on saying that singing this song, it has nothing, giving a command.
We don't give a command through singing. When it is time to give a command, we'll give that command. And therefore, singing will never be confused for command. It is what it is. It's a chant, it's a singing, and in African culture, singing is not taken in a literal meaning.
As they proceed, tension ends up rising again.
Your parents have left you a bad name. So that is the context I'm using it. So please, if you are going to be a legal representative, you are going to have to reduce yourself from this case as an individual. Remove your emotions and deal with me as a professional. Because if you are going to come to me as a personal person, individually, I will no longer look at you as a professional. I will decisively deal with you as an individual.
Guys, during his testimony, Malema did accuse AfriForum for playing victim.
A black child's trauma is not a trauma. We are still a traumatized nation, if you don't know. And that trauma is real. And don't push us to that pain. Because when that day comes, we'll not be scared. We have lost everything. We survive by the day. We don't know what tomorrow holds for us. I've elaborated. I'm not scared of death. I'm not scared of death. I don't know why I'm still alive. I died long time ago. I'm not scared of killing.
I'm not scared of death because I have died long time ago. In other words, Malema is a dead person alive. Malema said, the singing of this song, it is part of South Africa history, and he remained unapologetic about his stance.
White people stole our land.
Which one?
White people who came and settled here.
350 years ago?
Yes.
White people now are land thieves.
Yes, they remain land thieves.
They remain land thieves.
Yes, the land has not been returned into the hands of the rightful owners. For as long as you are in a possession of a stolen car, you remain a criminal.
For as long you are in the possession of a stolen car, you still a criminal. What do you think about that? That was Julius Malema inside the court in front of the judge, trying to remind this advocate who wanted to come and impose to him what to say in front of the judge and what not to say in front of the judge, all because it is a taboo debate that they don't want Africans to talk about the land. This AfriForum advocate thought maybe the judge was going to protect him inside the court. Unfortunately, the judge could not protect him because Julius Malema was speaking the truth. And later on, his words end up being fulfilled, just as he had promised him that they will fire you. And this advocate, he did lost this case, and Julius Malema did win. After then, the man was fired from his position. Do you know why? Because he was defeated by a man who was not afraid of him, by a man who have to come and front him face to face, telling him the truth. Now, here's one more thing that we want to share with you. On this day, Julius Malema with his political party, they were protesting somewhere. All because there were some members of the DA, I'm referring to the farmers and white people, they had to go and block all the roads in the entrance of Tshwane City. That simply means that all the activities was put down for a couple of days by these people. So Julius Malema with his people, they end up realizing that no, come on, what do we have to do with this? Why is this concerning us? Because what these people they are striking for, it is really disturbing us. And the police is supposed to make sure that they also do protect our interest. But since they could not be able to protect also us, then we need to protect ourselves. That is how Julius Malema told his followers this.
We cannot allow white people to do as they wish in this country, like they are doing in Palestine. Let them announce the day they are coming back to Tshwane. Let us meet them toe to toe. Let us teach them who owns South Africa. We cannot be harassed in our own country during apartheid and be harassed in our own country during a democratic dispensation by a nonsense Afrikaner community. It must come to an end. Let us take them toe to toe. Let us show them who is in charge of this country. This is our land. This is our country. We will defend it with everything. If it means defending it with our lives, let us defend it with our lives. Let us see. Let us see when the Boers come back. Which side will the police take? Police must take side. We are not fighting anyone. We are going to liberate our highways, our freeways from racist whites because government has failed. When government fails to protect us, we must protect ourselves. This regime has failed. Let us protect ourselves against this racism.
So Julius Malema ended up calling the EFF members to go for toe-to-toe with these white people. After he had said these words, trust me guys, 2 days was too much, the peace came in, and these white people were protesting, locking all the roads around Pretoria. They end up releasing everything, all because they had Julius Malema message. Now, let us talk, why do Africans need to have someone such as a Julius Malema? Why would Africans have to have the kind of courage that we get to see in Julius Malema? Well, it is for the simple reasons. Africans, they've been through a lot for centuries. We're talking about many years ago that Africans, they've been humiliated, they've been discriminated, they've been disrespected, they've been destroyed, they've been looted by the West. And all these people, they were taking advantage of Africans because Africans were not able to have the kind of courage that Julius Malema is manifesting today. Because Africans, they were not allowed to speak freely. Because Africans, they could not be able to even discuss some of the matters. If you try to discuss certain things, they'll say that this is a taboo topic. You can't even talk about it. Even in the school, you find professors giving the lesson in secret, sending some children on the windows to spy outside and see who's coming in the passage. If this kid have to see any person coming in the passage, they'll have to let the professor to stop talking about this, because otherwise they'll be in trouble. So Africans did not have that courage to stand on their own and try to face these people face to face, toe to toe, and tell them the truth of what is going wrong in their countries. That is how you see all these people took advantage of Africans. That is how these people came in Africa, took advantage of African minerals and loot Africa as much they want, nominating puppet government, nominating puppet presidents who are at their service. All because Africans, they were like, you can't talk. If you talk, they'll kill you. If you talk, they'll shout you off. If you talk, they'll do this to you. So now with someone like Julius Malema, he have understand or read the whole plan, the mind of these people, and he have a strategy on how to deal with them. Shame, the poor guy is not even greedy. He did not refuse to share it with other fellow Africans, particularly South Africans. He even spoke through his message, trying to tell South Africans and Africans on how they can behave in certain matters. He asked his fellow Africans to be strong and have courage to stand against imperialism. And looking at it, it looked like this message, it went even very far all over Africa continent. And many Africans that are coming in their numbers saying that enough, it is enough. We're now here to do things in a different ways. We're now here to show people in the world that this is a new generation and we have to have a different way of doing things. Julius Malema encouraged each and every African that is willing to do things in a different way, such as much he tried to explain the reasons why he loved Nigerians.
You know, one thing I like about Nigerians is not about these things that you accuse them about. A Nigerian man, if he comes in here and speak,
you won't doubt that this man has got confidence. So white people refer to them as being rude. That's why in Nigeria you don't find a lot of white people. Because when you speak to them and they don't hear properly, yes, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? And then you think he's fighting, like, no, he wants to understand what he's not fighting. But you, they taught you that if you don't hear, sorry, sir, can you repeat that? So they enjoy that. They enjoy this submissive attitude of a black man, because to them you are boys and girls. They don't enjoy a person who speaks standing firm, looking right into their eyes and unshaken. That's what we should be. That's what we should be. We must be, and that thing comes out of liberating the mind. But if the mind becomes permanent weapon at the disposal of the oppressor, you will never do anything. You will continue to think less of yourself. You ought to liberate yourself. You cannot be EFF and still be sheepish. Once you join the EFF, it's a first step of mental liberation, that I am not my ancestor. I am a generation now which will never take what my ancestors took from you. I will never tolerate that. So they don't hate Malema. They are all shocked by this black man who can speak to them like that, who can speak like that, who can confront them like that, because all blacks must be submissive. And when they paralyze you, they even come and then patronize you, that no, you are better than them. Those of you who even speak in that accent of theirs, you even speak better than them. But I always get shocked that you say you don't want these colonial people, you want to be African, but you speak like Sir Ramaphosa. You can't speak like a person that you hate. You can't. You can't say, I hate these white people, they've oppressed us, they took everything from us, and then from there, you want to speak like them. Only in South Africa do we do that. You can go anywhere in the continent, including Zimbabwe, where they are educated better than us. They've got no accent. They've got Zimbabwean accent. They don't have this thing of yours, because they've never seen themselves in the image of a white man. They saw themselves in the image of an African man and accepted education as a form of liberation, not as a way of mimicking the colonialist and the imperialist. Because some of you confuse being educated to be meaning I must talk like these white people, otherwise I am not educated. So when we speak about a liberated man, it's a man who knows who she is and who he is. But once you've got a doubt about yourself, you will never liberate anyone. Because you are not liberated yourself.
Again here, you'll see that it is courage. Courage, it is something that each and every Africans need. Tell me, the example that Julius Malema gave, is he lying, yes or no? Because this is what destroys Africa to where we are now. All because of this kind of mentalities. Sorry, sir. I can't hear you, sir. Excuse me, sir. Yes, madam. Oh, yes. No, man. Come on. Once, yes, we don't refuse it. That is also a sign of showing how kind and respectful Africans we are toward our bosses or towards any individuals. But in this case, you should also know that you respect someone. If you can't get that respect in return, you need to show the person that you are also able to be that crazy as much they are. So I think Africans should be even more fearless toward this kind of people with their bad behaviors. That is how we'll end up getting everything in our possession. Africans need to have the kind of courage as the one of Julius Malema, because it will take this beautiful continent even more far. Africans need to demonstrate and show how determined they are to bring change in this beautiful continent. As long you're not disrespecting anyone, as long you're right under your rights, as long you're in the sight of the truth, then let this truth set you free. Speak it no matter what. If it hurts, let it hurt. But just make sure that at the end of the day, your heart it is at peace and you don't feel like you have betrayed yourself with your conscience. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video up to now. We really do appreciate you taking your time to watch this video, because it was very important we get to analyze with you together and you know why Africa need to have the kind of courage that we are seeing in these true Pan-Africans, especially the one of Julius Malema. Before you leave, make sure that you hit that like button, give us your thumbs up. We really do appreciate that. To those always watch us time to time, guys, we just want to acknowledge your presence as well, because you are so wonderful. You've been supporting us. To all our membership, thank you so much for your donation and everything that you are doing to support this movement of Africa, because we talk about the serious matters that concern Africa, and you guys, you are showing that you are a true Pan-Africans. You come through the comment section, you come in any way possible, that just to make sure that we are okay in everything. We really do appreciate you guys for everything that you've been doing to this channel. But if this is your first time to watch our videos and you want to hear from us in the next future, just make sure that you hit that subscribe button, so that whenever we're live, whenever we upload our videos, you don't miss any of it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until now, for now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.